We've got some pretty interesting news coming out of the PTR in relation to the Mythic Plus pool for Season 3 in Dragonflight. And I've got to admit, this is a really good change, and I'm actually pretty hyped for it. So we're going to be talking about that in this video today. And real quick, I just wanted to remind you guys that if you're new here and you're into World of Warcraft related news, discussion videos, rants, or guides, then maybe consider today subscribing to the channel so you guys are always informed when I put out my new videos. So to those of you who have not played Battle for Azeroth, or you just didn't play the game back then, Waycrest Manor was one of the Mythic Plus dungeon pools back during that expansion. And it had a pretty good rep for being just a really fun dungeon to play, and myself personally, I really enjoyed it. However, there was just a really annoying bug with it where, there would be different areas in the dungeon where ads would literally aggro through the floor and come up and just wipe your group.
Oh
No.
What the f- Oh no!
But either way, those issues were patched later on in the expansion, and Waycrest Manor still to this day is probably one of the more beloved dungeons from that expansion, so it's pretty fun to see that they're bringing it back. And the big gimmick of this dungeon was that there were multiple paths or routes that you guys could take throughout the dungeon, so essentially every single time you went in there, you would have a different route to go through, and this was all kind of tied behind doors being locked and doors being opened. And you actually couldn't change this, so every time you went in there, it was essentially a different run. And while at the time it was kind of a cool idea, a lot of people, especially the, Mythic Plus community, wasn't really a fan of this whole, mechanic. Mainly because, when people are trying to optimize a dungeon, they get really happy with, a certain route that they think is, more efficient. And when the dungeon is basically telling you, no, you have to go this way instead of, the way you want to go, it can be definitely frustrating. And when the Waycrest Manor was announced with the, the announcement of Season 3, and we saw it was going to be in the dungeon pool, a lot of people were kind of worried and thinking oh, okay, so we're going to have to, go back to having to have multiple routes ready for every time we go into the dungeon. So today I'm pleased to announce that it looks like Blizzard has already, thought about this, because it looks like on the PTR, all of the doors for Waycrest Manor are just going to be open on default. So this is going to be a really awesome change for everybody, because what this means is you'll essentially be able to use whichever route you guys want to use with this dungeon. There's no more worrying about RNG and, having to plan for multiple paths. Now you guys can just, whatever route you guys want to use, you guys can use it. And speaking of dungeons for Season 3, it looks like Blizzard is actually being pretty proactive as far as tuning when it comes to these dungeons. I can already see on Wowhead the PTR updates, they're constantly putting out new changes to especially Atal Zar and Waycrest Manor and things like that. So it looks like Season 3 is going to be shaping up to be a pretty good pool for dungeons. And I think, obviously knock on wood, but I think we have a really good chance of, these older dungeons being in a pretty good spot. I don't think we're going to be running into a situation where we did last season where, there's going to be some serious tuning issues. I think Blizzard is definitely kind of on the ball this time, and that's really exciting to hear. But either way, I just thought this would be a really good topic to make a video on, and I feel like in general, I just want to be more, quicker when it comes to putting out updates for, newsworthy stories. But what are your guys' thoughts? Are you guys excited for these dungeons for Season 3 in Mythic Plus, or do you guys hate these dungeons? Sound off in the comments section which dungeons you guys would love to see for Season 4, if there's a Season 4, by the way. Thank you guys so much for watching my video and my channel in general. I'm still Solo, and I will see you guys next time.